Owners of high-end bikes/components, do you find your purchase worth it or not? I'm not sure if it's high-end, but I just bought the YT Kappa Pro Race, so it was the most expensive at the time I bought it. I had been out of biking for 15 years and been itching to get back on it. I sell real estate and had my best month ever, so I figured I would treat myself. I was always the type of person that likes high-end components, and my previous bikes reflected that. Foz Mono, Intense 951. I would rather save up for 6 months and get a top of the line than being disappointed and having to upgrade. I'm sure with my current bike that the performance boost from the higher end components is negligible, and I'm certainly not going to see it with my skill level, but having gold stanchions is pretty cool. Depends on the family of components. Frames and suspension? Yes. Drivetrains? Not really. Brakes? Yes. Most things are worth it to a point, so like yes on XT, but not XTR. One alternative way of phrasing a same, or similar, if you want, question is, does that bike work as well as you hoped? Does it need to more or less maintenance? Is it easier to maintain? Would you have to do it at a shop or yourself? Do they make adjustments etc. for free if you are within warranty? Santa Cruz Bronson X01 build. Yes. 100% after owning giant bikes. I'm not looking back. Not quite an owner yet, but I just ordered a Trek Fuel X 9.8. And am super excited. I've been saving all summer and I was able to afford it because I work at a bike shop and get a massive discount. Normally, I would not be able to afford a bike like that. For the last year I've been riding a $900 XC hardtail from REI and it has served me well, but my skill level and riding style have surpassed what the bike can handle. I took a demo bike, Specialized Stump Jumper, out for a ride and it was the most fun I've ever had mountain biking. So in short, yes, I am happy with my purchase. I paid good money for a solid bike, fell edict, about $2,000 for the last year's $3,000 model sort of thing. Don't regret it at all. I love solid gear for activities, snowboarding for example. Solid gear makes all the difference. So I have a rather old bike from 2013, but I bought it when it had been ridden for less than 1,000 kilometers from a bike shop owner, so it was practically new. It cost $12,500 for new and was a Cannondale Flash Ultimate, with some other upgraded parts that wasn't stock. I have later changed the gears and brakes, but the most important thing about the bike is definitely the weight. It's a hardtail and weighs a little less than 8.5 kilograms, so it's an XC machine and it truly shows. I do XC races in my country, and when I got the bike I started getting some pretty good results, from a mix of the bike being a beast and me feeling more confident on it than other bikes I've ridden. It's quite expensive in maintenance and a bit more than I expected, which sometimes sucks a bit, but the performance of the bike definitely outweighs it. So yeah, in conclusion, I'm way happier with it than I expected, and if you have the money for a high-end bike you should go for it, but it's not a must. I've had a lot of shitty bikes before this and I've had loads of fun on them too. I'm not sure if this counts, but my first full suspension bike was around $2,000 and my most recent was $5,000. I saved up for both for months and months before purchasing. Before those two bikes, I was riding $500-ish big box hardtails. The $2,000 bike was an aluminum Diamondback Mission 2. Great bike, very solid components. It rode really well. It was excellent for big descents and parks, but it bobbed quite a bit during pedaling if you didn't lock out the rear suspension. I ended up putting the largest possible volume spacer in it for everyday trail riding. Still had tons of fun and don't regret the purchase at all. My newest bike is a 2019 Ibis Ritmo. Full carbon with mid-level components. GX drivetrain and Fox factory suspension. In this case, a lot of what you're paying for is the boutique name and DW Link suspension design. I would 100% buy this frame again because it pedals great, but I would probably build it out myself rather than being the complete bike. The Fox factory stuff is overkill for me. I don't need the level of customization with the fancy dampers and stuff. I also really don't feel like I need a carbon frame either. I actually wish I had waited a year and picked up a Ripmo AF, which is the more affordable aluminum frame with lower end components. I've ridden a buddy's AF and really can't tell much difference aside from the slight change in geometry. So basically, what I'm saying is I'm not the level of rider that needs super high-end stuff. It's nice to have, but I can't fully take advantage of it and don't really need it for my style of riding.
Yes, I put XTD2 on my MTB, and I've taken it through some crazy-ish. Never had to worry about my drivetrain not shifting. Really wish they'd make a 12-speed version already.
I don't have top-end full suspension, but my bike cost $2,400 before taxes and shipping. I'd consider that high-end. I'd say it's 100% worth it. We waste money on all kinds of things, eating out, movies, etc. that brings short-term enjoyment and they have value, sure, but the kind of fulfillment you get from a day in the saddle is just different, and I never feel more alive and in the moment than I do when I'm hauling ass through the woods. I have a bike that allows me to do what I love without any compromises. I bought a mid-level specialized fuse with SRAM SX12 drivetrain. I recently upgraded with an XO1 kit and it made the bike come to life. I was surprised how much more fun I'm having on it. Also upgraded to Shimano XTDR brakes, and soon with the Fox 34 Elite fork. I think at that point I will no longer have a mid-grade bike. The fun factor matches your drive of wanting to take the bike to the next level. If I only had one bike, might even get a really good one and just deal with the monthly payments for a couple of years. But right now I've got a bike for commutes/road rides, a hardtail for XC-type rides, gravel if I sometimes feel like it, and a full SUS for technical trails/downhill, all aluminum and mostly mid-level componentry. I'm under the impression that mid-level parts can outlast the top-end ones. Top-end stuff is designed for performance and low weight sometimes sacrifices longevity. Maybe a couple of years down the line I might replace the hardtail and full SUS with a bit more high-end long travel trail bike. But I don't see myself ever paying for a top-of-the-line model because I don't need to win competitions or impress people, and I don't have the thousands of extra cash laying around either. Full XO1 SRAM code RSC Santa Cruz Bronson. 100% worth it. I've owned 4 giant trances in the past, all carbon advance. $4,000, $6,000 giants, and the Santa Cruz is next level good. So yes, 100% worth it. OP4S on my hardtail is the highest component I have. 10/10ths worth it. Powerful, smooth, dead reliable. The build quality is fantastic and every part is replaceable and serviceable. I have plenty of time with cheaper bikes, and while the performance may be the same, there is no doubt in my mind where the extra money goes. Not entirely sure if I fit into high-end, maybe the entry-level high-end, if that makes sense, but I recently bought a Trek Slash at $3,700. Yes, I'm extremely happy I bought it instead of buying something in the $2,000 range, which I initially set out to do. The biggest factor for me is the type of terrain in my area. I live in the Southwest. In the parks I've been riding, you'd be hard-pressed to find a true beginner single-track trail. It's really more like a blue diamond/black diamond if you want to ride anywhere decent. Pros: I can confidently ride anywhere in my area. Cons: expensive. You really need to keep an eye on your components to keep your bike up, specifically the drivetrain and brakes. Not that you should, but riding an enduro bike on the street or sidewalk feels awkward. So you're not going to get a dual suspension mountain bike if you buy a high-end mountain bike. It's only for the trail type of thing. Santa Cruz Mega Tower XO1. Absolutely incredible bike backed by Santa Cruz's amazing warranty. I've ridden all levels of stuff from SRAM and Shimano, carbon and aluminum bikes from Giant, Trek, Pivot, Marin, GT, Cannondale, Specialized, Santa Cruz, parts from Chris King, DT, Easton, Raceface, Cane Creek, Manitou, RockShox, Fox, etc. After a certain level, the returns are minimal. The sweet spot is the XO1/SLX/XT level. I currently have a mix of XTR and XT parts because I've had access to some great deals for the XTR stuff. Current wheels are mostly DTXM rims on 350 hubs, but have a sea of XM 1501 wheels as a special gift to myself. I do notice the weight difference between an alloy frame versus carbon. I do notice the difference of pike and a Revelation. I do notice a difference between a high-end spring fork versus air fork. My expensive dropper is better than the mid/lower tier stuff I've ridden in the past, but these days mid-levels are very, very good and performance is just as good as mine. Tires matter. Saddles matter. That said, the way Tweenie pushes me towards the higher-end stuff at times. Only reason I run some XTR parts thought is that I got a big hookup from a patient of mine looking to sell his takeoffs to switch to SRAM. My hardtail is aluminum and I ride hard on it. My FS is carbon, and I ride hard on it. I rarely ever have a problem with my stuff, but the key is maintaining it. These days, you're chasing margins at the race level components and bikes. $3,000, $5,000 bikes are probably the best performance to value bikes. They're usually spec'd with mid to prosumer level stuff. I have a 2021 S-Works Epic with AXS. I also have a 2019 Parley Shabako with AXS. Also have a Pivot Mach 5.5 Pro X01 build with some upgrades. I think everything is worth it. You truly get what you pay for. AXS is such low maintenance and literally shifts perfectly every single time. As for the more expensive bikes themselves, my S-Works Epic weighs under 21 pounds ready to ride. With a bike so light it is extremely fast and accelerates very quick. As for my Pivot, the factory suspensions is much better than even performance, for example. Much more adjustable is the main difference. Thiggins like i9 Hydra wheels are also a great upgrade. Increased engagement is another very nice time to have on more technical trails. Also, I love Hope brakes, extremely low maintenance, get quality, excellent stopping power. Yes,